Right. Good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon. Depends on when you're getting around to doing this, I suppose. Um, I would like this morning in maths to try doing some mental starters with you. So in the Google Drive, I've put today's work. But what I'm going to do with you here is some questions that we can work through together. I'll show you a potential method. You might have a different method to me, but that's not a problem. So I'll show you a potential method. You see if you get the same answer as me, then you go off and do the work, and then at the end of this video I'll have a challenge question for you to do as well, based on today's work. Okay, so appearing on screen now should be the questions, if I know what I'm doing, which I don't think I do yet. So the questions are a mix of operations. Okay, so there's different methods to do each of them. So on question one, as you can see, hopefully, it says 1,000 less than 3,456. So on the left hand side here, I've got my working area, and I'll talk you through how I would do this question. If you don't do it the same way, that's not a problem. Okay, as long as you still get the same answer, that's the trick. If you want to have a go with me, then just pause the video. Okay, have a go yourself, and then see if you get the same answer as me. Okay, so 3,456, nice and straightforward. So let's do, he says, yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so starting with the right, you've got your units column, then your tens column, then your hundreds column, and then your thousands column. Okay, going back to the question, you can see it's 1,000 less, so it's talking about this column here, and it's 1,000 less, which is one unit down. So it would be 2,456. Okay, so that's question one. Okay, question two is 0.4 divided by something is 0.04. Okay, so if we again write that out, so you've got 0.4 and it's going to become 0.04. Okay, now as you can see, you've gone from the tenths column to the hundredths column. Okay, so everything has moved one place value column to the right. If we're moving place value columns either left or right, we're obviously multiplying or dividing by 10, 100,000, a power of 10. Okay, it's moved one place value column to the right, so you're going to divide by 10. All right, so you take 0.4, you divide that by 10, and you're going to get 0.04. Nice and straightforward again. Okay, I hope. 0.35 is a fraction. Right, I'm going to try a different pen for this one. Oh, that one, much better. 0.35 is a fraction. Okay. You may have done some fraction work last week. We've done fraction work in school as well. The easiest way to think about it is a decimal is not quite a whole number yet. Okay, so when that reaches 1, 0.0, you can have the 0.0 if you want, that's a whole number. Okay, 0.35 is not quite a whole number yet. All right, so we've got part of a whole. You also get parts of wholes in fractions. Okay, so you've got your numerator and then you've got your denominator. Okay, so what you need to do is choose a denominator that you think represents the whole, and then 0.35 can go at the top. Okay, easy way to do these. Normally you're going to put it over 10, over, and that's fantastic handwriting there, over 100 or over 1,000. Okay, so you've got 0.35, you've got 3 tenths and you've got 5 hundredths. If you put it there and you made it 35, you've got 35 out of 10, so you've got 3.5. Okay, it's too big. Okay, you've got you've got 3 whole groups of 10 in there, so you've already got 3 wholes. So that's too big, so it's definitely not that one. Okay, you could have 35 out of 100. We could have 35 out of 1,000. Now, if you convert this to a decimal, you get 0.35. If you convert this, you get 0.035. So, going back to the question, 0.35 is a fraction. Well, it's that one, 35 out of 100. Okay, you would add 0.75 to it to get a whole, and that's 75 out of 100. Okay, so it definitely works. I've checked it 3 or 4 different ways there. I haven't just pulled it out of thin air and guessed. I've had a reasonable assumption, and then I've worked around it and made sure it's definitely correct. Okay. 0.7 as a fraction. Well, that's really easy now. 0.7 as a fraction. Can't write with a rubber, can you? 0.7 as a fraction. It's the same skill. It's exactly the same thing I've just done. So it's either going to be over 10, over 100, or over 1,000, probably. Okay, that's just years and years of maths questions. It's probably over one of them. Okay, it could be over 20, it could be over 5, something like that. But if it's working to a whole and you're converting between decimals and fractions, usually they make it quite easy for you. Okay, well, it's not 70 over 10 because that would be 7. 70 over 100 would be 0.7. My brain switches on. And 70 over 1,000 would be 0.07. So again, it's the same denominator. Okay. I'm hoping you're getting these right. Total degrees in a triangle. That is lovely and straightforward, and it is one of those things that is definitely worth just popping away in your head because you will use it an awful lot in years to come. That is not an equilateral triangle, but I'd have liked it to have been. So let's pretend it's an equilateral triangle. Okay, so all angles are the same in an equilateral triangle, but not in my magic triangle. So they all are 60. Okay, so it adds to 180. Right. The easy way for me to remember that is the degrees. The angles in a triangle add to half of the angles in a square. Angles in a square, you know. If I could draw a square. Angles in a square add to 360 degrees. Okay, with all of those being 90, obviously. And then angles in a triangle add to half of angles in a square. But again, that's one of those things you might at the moment be working out, but it is definitely worth just, once you've worked it out once, pop it away in your head, it'll come up an awful lot. Okay. Round 34,782 to the nearest 10, 100 and 1,000. Okay. Again, it's a really easy question, but it's very easy to slip up because you've got 3 parts to it. So we'll break it down. So first of all, what we're going to do is write it out. 34,782. And then we're rounding that to the nearest 10. Okay. Now, as a class, you've been very good at rounding to the nearest 10, 100 or 1,000. Okay, and it's the same principle every time. So you round it to the nearest 10. So you find the tens column, and I'm helping you out there. I'll write them out. So you find the tens column, which is the one that we're focusing on. You look to the one to the right, and we've got a 2. Now, when you've done that, you find the column you're in, and then you look to the one to the right. You can apply 5 and above rounds up, 4 and below rounds down. Okay? Yeah, that's fine. So you've got a 2, so it's going to round down, obviously. So that will become a 0. So the answer for to the nearest 10, I'll write here, is 34,780. Threw myself there because I put the 0 on the end, didn't I? Thought the number was a lot bigger there. Nearest 100. Okay, same principle. I'll write it out again because that's a bit messy now. So you've got 34,782 to the nearest 100. Well, that's the hundreds column now, isn't it? Well, it was before as well, but you know what I mean. Tens column, because we go to the 1 column to the right to have a look whether we round up or down. It's an 8, so we're going to round up because 5 and above we round up. So that rounds up, so this becomes 800. So it becomes 34,800. Don't know why I've got a different colour there, but I'm 1,000. Okay, so you find your 1,000 column, which no longer is that one there. It is now that one. Okay, that's your 1,000 column. So you look to the one to the right. It's 700. So you're going to round that up because it's above 500. It's above the digit 5. So if 700 rounds up, so you get 35,000. Okay, and again, nice and easy. Lovely and straightforward. It's just a case of breaking the question down and doing it in sort of baby steps so you don't confuse yourself. Now remember that you need all of the digits in there. What I see some of you doing sometimes is if we take this one, some of you might just put 80 as your answer. That's not an answer. You can't round 34,782 to 80 because you've lost 30,000. And if I ask you to, as I said to you before, if I ask you to round £34,000 and you come back and you've only got £80, I would like the £34,000 back. So just make sure you've got all the digits in there that you need. Okay, 25% as a fraction. Lovely. So 25% as a fraction. A couple of different answers to this one. Okay, 25% as a fraction. So first thing that I would establish with that is how many 25% can you fit within your whole. Okay, now a whole is obviously, I'll put it down here, 100%. That makes a lot of sense. So you've got 25, 50, 75 and 100%. Okay, so we're going to draw a little, apparently we're not. We're going to draw a bar model, nice and straightforward one. Okay. So this here represents the whole, 100%, and then this, it's not going to be accurate because I can't do it accurately. Oh no, actually, I can do it more accurately than I thought I probably could. Fantastic, work of art that. I've split it into 4, so you've got 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. Okay, so what you could have, 25 as a fraction, 25%, you could have 25 out of 100, because as you can see, you'd have 25, 50, 75, 100. So you've got 25 out of a possible 100. These 3 groups of 25 you still don't own yet. Okay. Or what you might be able to see, my voice went there. What you might be able to see is now that I've split it into 4, I've got 4 equal groups. So my denominator could be 4, and I own one of them. I own this one. So it's a quarter. 25 out of 100, 25% is a quarter. Okay. Again, if that's something that you didn't know until this point and you were working that out, it's definitely worth popping it up there. 25% being a quarter is definitely one of those things you just need to lock away. Hopefully, some of you were able to just answer that like that. Okay. If not, don't worry about it. But what I'm saying is the next time you get that question, it's one of those ones that's definitely worth just popping away to save you the time of having to work it out time and time again, because they'll ask you a lot. Okay. How many millilitres in a litre? Okay. Oops. Again, we've looked at this one this year. Okay, it's just one of those conversion rates you just need to learn. Find some way to remember them. The way that I remember them is, or for this one especially, is I remember a Coke can or Diet Coke. That's healthier, isn't it? Or Coke Zero. Coke Zero. Okay, I don't condone the drinking of all the sugars. So Coke Zero can is 330 millilitres. Okay, 330 millilitres is not yet a litre. Okay, when you have the little 330 millilitre can, you haven't drunk a litre of Coke Zero. So it can't be 100 millilitres, can it? Because it's either 10, 100 or 1,000. It has to really be one of the two. Okay, so you've got a choice of 10, 100 or 1,000. If you drink a 330 ml can, it's definitely not that because you haven't drunk 3 litres. And with this one, you haven't drunk, what, 30 litres? 30 litres of Coke. So it must be that one, mustn't it? Okay. Again, one of those, just pop away. Similarly, your 500 ml bottles of water that you might bring to school, if we were at school, isn't a litre either. So just find something that you know the measurement of and decide whether that's litres or millilitres. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. How many degrees in a circle? Okay, let's assume that out, sorry. How many degrees in a circle? All right, now, this is something, again, I know some of you may know. I'll talk you through how I'd work it out if you didn't know. Okay, so let's draw the circle up here. He says, drawing with a rubber. Okay, so let's put an arrow on it. So imagine you're facing forwards. This is how I'd work it out if you weren't sure. You're facing forwards, okay, and you turn and you face that way. It's right or left, depending on how the video turns out. So you'd be facing this way. Okay. Now hopefully you can see there's a 90-degree angle. Okay. So you've turned 90 degrees. Okay. Think about points on a compass as well. You've got north, east, so far. Okay. So you've turned 90 degrees. You turn another 90, so you're facing backwards, okay. Now you're facing 180 degrees from where you started, so you were facing this way, you're now facing that way, okay. So you've turned, at the moment, 180 degrees. Then you're going to turn and face this way. Whoa! That was a wobbly line, wasn't it? That was west, okay. At this point, you've turned 270 degrees, and then you turn the final 90, and you're back to where you were, so it's 360 degrees, okay? So a full turn is 360 degrees, okay? So a full angles in a circle, or what's the question say, sorry? How many degrees in a circle will be 360 degrees? Because you start here, you go all the way around, bit of a detour there, and then you're back to where you started. Okay, so it's 360 degrees. Again, hopefully, one that you did know. If you don't, pop it away. Some of the stuff in here are ones that you'd have to calculate, but some of them are just, as you get a little bit older, they'll just be sort of general knowledge facts, if that makes sense. Things that you shouldn't need a pen and a paper to work out, you should just be able to, oh yeah, I can tell you that. How many sides has a hexagon got? I would imagine it means. Hexagon. So, say you can't remember. Let's work through it. So you've got circle. You've got circle with one. You can't have a shape with two sides because it wouldn't join. Neither does that, apparently. There you go. Then you've got triangle with three. You've got square with four. Just imagine all these are lovely, beautifully straight lines. Four. And then, shouldn't have done this because I can't draw it. Then you've got house, a pentagon with five. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And this is where you get your hexagon. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so a hexagon. All right. The prefix hex means 6. You'll come across it in other areas as well. So pent means 5. Hex means 6. Okay, tri means 3. Sir doesn't mean 1, unfortunately. Be good if it did. That's it. Okay, so that's 6 sides. But again, it's one of those that I would try and lock away in your head. So a lot of those actually have been things that hopefully you can stick away in that old noggin of yours. So now, I hope I'll be putting up a. I'll get it. Sorry, should have scripted this, shouldn't I? I'll be putting up a challenge question based on the work that you've done today. Okay, it should be on screen now. That I'd like you to have a go at, and then what I will do is have you pause the video around about here. Okay, for you to read the question, for you to have a go at working it out yourself. And then what I'll do is I will put the answer up and I will put the working out up underneath or alongside or wherever. Okay, so on screen around about now, you should have the answer and you should have the way that I've worked it out as well. Okay, if you struggled with the question that's on screen at the moment, that's not necessarily an issue because what I've tried to do is choose something very challenging based on the work that you've done today. Okay, so if you found the work today okay, but this was a little bit trickier, that's fair enough, that's not really an issue. Okay, if you can have a look at my working out and see how I got to the answer, that's fantastic. Okay, all right, well, I hope that you've had a fantastic math session. I know I have. I love drawing squares, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so I just thought I'd started on this question and I've had a look and I think it might be worth me explaining my working out to you as well. So I'd made a start already. So at the top here, I've got the number originally given to me in the question to the nearest 100. So what I've done is written underneath the two possibilities that it could be. It could either be 21,249 at its maximum and 21,150 at its minimum. Okay, any more than this and it will round up to 21,300, any less and it will round down to 21,100. So it has to be between those two. Okay, and then it says the number rounds to 21,150 to the nearest 10. Okay, so I can ignore that one now. Oops, well, there you go. I can ignore that one. So I'll change my focus onto this one. So it rounds to the nearest 10. So that means 21,000. 150 to the nearest 10 would mean 1 21,154, sorry, and 21,145. Okay, so now my answer has to be somewhere between those two. Okay, and then it says the digits in the 10,000s and the ones column are the same. Well, the 10,000s at the moment is a 2. Okay, so it has to have a 2 in it. So it must be 21,000. And then I will work it out. You've probably beaten me to it already, but my brain is not in gear today. So if you had any of those, 142, it would round down. So it can't be those, so it must be from this one, 21,152. Okay, so 21,152 is my prediction. Well, I think I've worked it out, but I'm just going to check. 21,152 rounded to the nearest 100. You'd take that column and look there. So that definitely works. So that's a tick. And rounded to the nearest 10 is 21,150 as well. So it matches everything that it should do. And then the final one, the digits in the 10,000s and the ones column are the same. That's my tens. Thousands, that's my ones. So yeah. So the answer, hopefully, that you got. Again, very tricky one. So if you didn't, it's not the end of the world, okay? You're going to get much easier questions when it comes to rounding than this one. 21,152 is the answer. That's how it made me feel getting it.